All right, now we're moving on to the concept of the origin of the soul. Now we know you have a soul. And remember from the last video, I said when I use soul, I mean soul or spirit. I'm talking about the non-physical substance, which is the ground of your intellect, will, and emotions. And I will use those interchangeably. But also, again, a reminder too, that technically soul is the person. Okay, you can be a person in or with your body, you can be a person outside your body after death. So again, as we talk about this concept of soul, now we're talking about the origin of it. From where or from whom do you get your soul? And in this case, what we have is technically there's two views, and then I throw in a third one, just you can throw it away. The first view is sort of a non-Christian view. It's a pre-existentianism, which is the idea that your soul existed somehow before you came to earth. So you pre-existed somehow in the heavenly places for some amount of time before you came to earth and got your body. And frankly, there's just virtually no one in the history of Christianity has held this view, at least Orthodox-wise. And groups that hold this, such as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there's just very little, no biblical support for it whatsoever. In fact, the most you're going to get is out of context quote from Jeremiah 1:5, where God tells Jeremiah, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Again, God knowing us before we're formed in the womb, that's just a statement of divine omniscience, that he knows everything about us, knows us personally. It doesn't mean we have to exist for God to know us. So again, no supporting biblical views. In fact, you might call this view a view of pre-incarnation. Not reincarnation, but pre-incarnation. And it's significant, though, that why would people have a view of pre-incarnation or even reincarnation? See, what problem is this supposed to solve? And actually, pre-incarnation and reincarnation ultimately exist for one purpose. Supposedly, this explains divine justice. Is that, why are some people born in poverty? Why are some people born with birth defects? Why are some people, fill in the blanks, born in the wrong continent, the wrong family? And the answer is, well, you must have sinned in a previous life or previous time. And the reason why you're born with, again, genetic defects or something like that is you're getting punished for something you did in a previous life. So again, reincarnation, all the Eastern religions that practice this and understand it is, you have bad karma from a previous life. So the reason why you are born with a physical deformity in this life is you were a criminal, a murderer, whatever. So, and what's significant here is that in Hinduism, you're compelled not to help people who are suffering because otherwise you're not allowing them to pay their karmic debt. So again, it goes actually against the very notion of biblical compassion to hold this kind of a view. In Mormonism, as a view of pre-incarnation, again, classically, the Mormon Church, and when I say the Mormon Church, ultimately, while there are over 100 Mormon denominations in the United States, I'm talking about the big one, located in Salt Lake City that claims about 15 million members. This is the group that claims that there's a heavenly mother and a father with a body of flesh and bones. There's bazillions of gods that evolved or progressed into being gods. The heavenly mother and the father of this planet procreate spirit children or spirit babies in the pre-existence. And that according to Mormonism, every single one of us had a significant history or pre-existence before we got to Earth. And this became the basis, for example, for classic, LDS discrimination. In fact, in various books you can read, especially if you look at the older versions of Mormon Doctrine by Bruce R. McConkie, who was a Mormon apostle, he nicely summarized the LDS view on the Negro, and that was that the Negro has black skin because there was a war in heaven, and what you had was you had when Lucifer went to present his plan of salvation to the divine council and it was rejected, that Lucifer starts the war in heaven. Well, you had spirits that's fought courageously or valiantly for God, and they get to come down and get white bodies. The cowards on God's side in the war in heaven came down and got black bodies, okay? And then the spirits that fought against God never actually get a body. They become the demons in Mormon theology. Now, of course, that's just pure racism, but there's another black skin curse in Mormonism as well. If you look at 2 Nephi 5, it talks about how these Lamanites, when they came over from Jerusalem, where they started out where they were white and exceedingly fair and delightsome, it says, God, because of their sin and wickedness, cursed them with a skin of blackness. So, again, in Mormonism, this black skin curse, again, it appears in the Lamanite curse, but it's also a curse from the pre-existence, because the spirit children that were cowards in the war in heaven get marked out as having black bodies because now they weren't eligible for the Melchizedek priesthood, which was required if you're going to try and work your way to becoming a god in Mormonism. So just like, quote, bad karma in Hinduism, this is, quote, your bad works in the pre-existence coming back to haunt you in this life. Now, again, 1978, the president of the Mormon Church claims that the curse was lifted, but the problem is the LDS Church still has to, answer the questions of why there was a black skin curse in the first place. So here again, there are just no good biblical reasons for pre-existentianism. Again, there's no scriptural support, but probably most importantly too is that we're not conscious of a previous existence. I could go on, but it's interesting because Christ, in his resurrection from the dead, okay, he remembers exactly who he is as a human being. He has all his memories. He knows who he is. He knows who he is. Death, didn't wipe everything out when he, quote, came back to life, being resurrected from the dead after 3 days. What's significant is that, if people are being punished for sins in a previous existence, wouldn't it be better if they actually remembered what they were so they could actually think about repenting while they're being punished? But this is why both reincarnation and pre-incarnation don't make a whole lot of sense. Now, in the next video, we're going to look at the biblical options of creationism and traducianism for the origin of the soul. But I wanted to introduce the concept here. Thanks.